Paddy Power stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC. Unlike some other high street bookies, Paddy Power, you beauty!
Podcast regulars, welcome to our preview of Day 3 at the Punchestown Festival. It's slightly warmer, only slightly, but a fantastic card to look forward to on Day 3, headed by the Ladbrokes Champion Stayers Hurdle, an 8-race marathon for us to get through. And joining me, Lee Mottershead, we'll have Racing Post colleagues David Jennings, Richie Forrestal, and from Paddy Power, Rob Catterson. Okay, we will work through in chronological order, starting with a nice, easy-peasy 2-mile handicap hurdle at 3:40. Richie, only the 25 runners. And in the distance, we've got some podcast fans looking to make their presence felt. Good afternoon, sir. You're very welcome. Goodbye, sir. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
It's 2 o'clock.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Lovely. Richie.
Yeah, it's hard to follow that, in fairness. Yeah, it's wide openly. I mean, you know, it's the kind of race you'd want a strong view on something to be getting involved in it. Orchard Road is in there. He was going to run a big race at Limerick the last day when he slipped up late on. But it's another horse that ran in that race that kind of caught my eye a little bit. One of JP's called Soar de Chantenay, of course, the Gravin Cromwell's. He's a 4-year-old, so he's a juvenile, and he's been quite busy. But he did show glimpses of form earlier in the season, and I just think he's in there off a weight that he can get competitive off, having shown last time that he's starting to hit a bit of form. He's got room to progress, and off a lightweight, I think he can run well in that.
Rob, this is a bookmaker's dream race, isn't it?
More than likely, and you'll be getting extra places, no doubt, with a lot of bookmakers.
With you guys?
I'd say so, yeah. We've been doing it twice every day. This looks a likely contender. I suppose the interesting one is the horse right down at the bottom, Sweet Company, for Tony Martin and Dennis O'Regan. He caught the eye in his most recent start, but he was a good winner at Galway in a maiden on the flat last season. He was well touted for that. I think Nina was on board. Listen, Tony's horse is starting to run a bit better. He's had 3 winners in the last couple of weeks or so. He's probably going to be the springer tonight when it's priced up, but he's the obvious one. And I suppose Gordon's got Bull Ride as well, he was a good winner, I think 2 or 3 runs ago. Obviously he's got to give weight an awful lot round, but there's no doubt about it. In those John Breslin still, Sweet Company's going to be the springer.
Okay, DJ, this is just a sort of race that gets your juices bubbling, is it not?
It is indeed, yeah. And as Rob said, Sweet Company will be the one for money. You just know he's the exact type of horse that will be backed. I'd imagine he'll probably open up this evening maybe 6 or 7 to 1. He'll probably be backed into about 7 to 2 or something like that. But for this race, when I looked at the 5-day stage, the one I was really interested in was Le Vagabond for Eddie O'Grady and Paul Town, and he's rated 95 on the flat. He was just pipped off at Cork in a handicap that Sweet Company was in last Saturday week, and I thought 119 over hurdles, he was the one I was really interested in. But then the King of Braga turns up here for Henry de Bromhead. All 5 of his wins have been right-handed. He's 130 rated chaser, running off a mark of 114. Dylan Robinson takes off £5, so theoretically he's £21 well in here compared to his chase mark. I think he's been laid out for it. He ran a really, really eye-catching race over hurdles at Wexford, where he was held up out the back and made late headway. That's not him. So it was interesting tactics. He could be a huge price, but I think he's a type of horse that could run well. He's better than his mark, and this could be a Henry de Bromhead masterstroke. I hope it is. I'm going to go for the King of Braga.
Well done with Western Boy as well on Tuesday, by the way.
Thank you.
He was very good on Tuesday. Western Boy 14 to 1. Race 2 is the pigsback.com Nick Cohen Memorial Handicap Chase. Again, another big field of 15 in this one. Rob, you guys priced this one up yet?
No, but even though he was beaten last week in Ferryhouse, you'd have to imagine Don't Touch is going to be favourite. I would have thought so anyway. Hurricane Ben obviously beat him, but he's £8 worse off. I thought Don't Touch, he couldn't be beaten in Ferryhouse, and he just sort of gave the impression that he might need the run. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't turn around. Obviously Dave's horse Tully East is in here. He's going to be one that's going to be popular. A lot of people backed him at Cheltenham, but to me this is one of the best bets of the day, and he's going to be bigger than he was in Ferryhouse as well. Don't Touch it.
When Rob was saying that, you made a strange noise. Explain that noise.
I did. Rob said that Don't Touch It could be the bet of the day. This is the bet of the meeting.
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 As you know, I'm a huge fan of Tully East, and he could be a very, very good chaser. He's a slick jumper. I did a piece with Alan Fleming that's in the Racing Post on Thursday, and he is so sweet in him. Like, he says he's come out of Cheltenham tremendously well, but I just don't see how he can beat Don't Push It. Now, I could be wrong here, but it looked for all the world as though he absolutely needed to blow out a Fairyhouse Don't Touch It last week. He jumped brilliantly, he travelled brilliantly, and then it looked as if he just got tired. And I'm convinced that this has been the plan, and it was a case of getting that blowout out of the way. He has cheek pieces on for the first time. He won a Grade 1 at this meeting last year. He's a terrific jumper. I'm all over Don't Touch It.
Richie, Brendan McArdle is trying to drown us out, the swine. So he is, yeah. You might have to speak quite loudly.
You can outmuscle him, Lee. You're well able for it. Yeah, it's a belting race, this, isn't it? It's really competitive, and good to see the two back from Fairyhouse last week, Don't Touch It, and Hurricane Ben, and Tully East, of course, from Cheltenham. Further down, you've got Potter's Point, who's been in form as well recently, into a handicap with Brian Cooper up. The one that caught my eye was a horse of Colin Tizard's. Obviously, Colin Tizard's horses are flying as well, Sizing Platinum. Now, he disappointed at Cheltenham in the Grand Annual, but prior to that, he had been running well at Ludlow when he fell in front. He's back down to a mark of 137 here, and in the autumn he finished second to Fox Norton. Now, he was well beaten second, but he was off 140 at Cheltenham. So in off 137 here, I think he's got a big chance under Harry Cobden. I suppose the off-putting thing is that Robbie Power hasn't gone for him. He's gone with Jessica Harrington's horse, Mr. 51. Then again, maybe he would be kind of obliged to ride Jessica's first. It's hard to know exactly what he would be doing in that situation. But I just thought at a price, Colin Tizard's horses are running well, and he's not bringing him over for the air over here in Punchestown, I don't think.
Lovely air though it is. Race 3 on Thursday is one of my favourite races in the whole calendar, the Touche Cup. Only the 8 runners this year, and Rob, the bookies they're going to be very afraid of Cantlow, aren't they, for Ender?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like he sets the standard on the last couple of years. Obviously, he was beaten at Cheltenham earlier in the season, and obviously at the festival. But listen, Enda Bulger and Mark Walsh, obviously they've got plenty in their favour. Enda's also got Love Rory, and I just think getting an awful lot of weight. Listen, I could tip up an even money chance in Cantlow, but I just think Love Rory getting the weight. He's a 2-time winner at Punchestown. Enda will have him tuned up for this, and I think with the 8 runners, if you're looking for something to maybe follow Cantlow home or give him a run, I think Love Rory could be the value.
Okay, DJ, are you more of a fan of up banks, drop banks, or double banks?
I have no real preference.
No,
and don't die a shock here, but my answer is going to take about 3.5 seconds.
This is not like you at all.
I think Cantlow will win.
Okay. DJ is all over Cantlow. Rob can see a 1-2 for Ender. Richie, how do you feel the Touche?
Yeah, we're talking about something and we're talking about nothing. Cantlow should win this with his head in his chest. He was third at Cheltenham. Bless the Wings came out and ran well in the Irish Grand National to be second again. So the form is solid. He was second here last year at quantitative easing. I agree with Rob. I mean, Love Rory is the one maybe if the 8 runners hold up that he'd be an each way bet possibly, but it's Cantlow's to lose.
The big race on day 4 is the Ladbrokes Champion Stayers Hurdle. It was the World Series Hurdle. It's back to being a Champion Stayers Hurdle again. And we've got the 1, 2, 3 from the Stayers Hurdle at Cheltenham. Nichols Canyon, Lil Rockefeller, and You Know What I Mean Harry. They renew rivalry in a cracking contest in which Sutton Place adds a new dimension, lightly raced and up in trip. Richie, a cracking showpiece for day 3.
Yeah, it's an excellent race. Great to see the Cheltenham trio back again. Shane's Hill is also in there, runs well here. He didn't run any race at all at Cheltenham for some reason, and he always does tend to run well there, so that is a bit of a concern. And you know the thing about Nichols Canyon for me, he was always in the shadow of the likes of Faheen and Annie Power and so on for so long, and the way he races, he's not flashy, he doesn't do anything too impressively, and despite the fact that he won the last day, he's still being underestimated a little as far as I'm concerned. He's a quality horse. He was a very good horse over 2 miles, as we know, and although he made it look like hard work the last day in a way, he still came there and got it done, and that's what he tends to do. He's 9-4, and for me he's max bet material. He's by far the best horse in the race. I don't see how you can make a case for anything. Obviously I know what Dave's going to say. He's starting to smirk there already. He's got Sutton Place in his mind, and he's a cracking young horse, there's no doubt about that, but he looks to me like a horse that needs a proper test, in that he needs soft ground. He's probably a chaser in the making. You might get a good drop of rain, but I don't think. I mean, Nichols Canyon will cope just as well with it. He's the standard setter for me. I mean, he'd be a serious option for me at 9-4.
Producer Jack, do you want to get a picture of DJ smirking? DJ smirk? That is a David Jennings smirk. David Jennings, explain why you were smirking.
Well, he just ruined my tip. He just gave the game away. Everybody was looking forward to seeing when I'm going to tip, and he's told you already.
Don't over-egg your own pudding.
Richie has made a good case for Nichols Canyon, and he ticks all the boxes. He's rock solid, but I think Sutton Place is the best horse that Gordon Elliott has. I really do. Yeah, I think he's his most exciting horse. I think he's the one horse that if you said to Gordon now over the next 3 or 4 years, give me a horse that you think might win a Gold Cup, he will tell you go Sutton Place. He is that good. I thought it was what told you how good he is was that they took him out of the race at Ferryhouse last week. He was 4-7 to win a pot of about 60,000. That would have been huge in the trainer's title, and they didn't. They took him out because of the ground. Now,
Sorry to interrupt, but that kind of tells a bit of a story as well, though, doesn't it? I mean, it's not going to be much slower here than it was at Ferryhouse.
I think it will be a bit slower. The showers forecast today, there's a bit of rain overnight. I think it will be a bit slower. I think this is a hell of a good horse. If you remember, back in January at Naas, this horse absolutely obliterated Super Sunday, who came out and won the Coral Cup. His form stacks up everywhere you look. I think 3 miles will bring out the best of him. I don't think they've got to the bottom of him yet. I really don't. I think he's a genuine Grade 1 horse. I know it's a very good race, but I'm in love with Sutton Place.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's that good. Yeah, I really do.
Would you little anecdote again here, listeners? I was speaking to Andy Smith this morning, who's one of the part owners of Little Rockefeller, a bookmaker back home, and he said just what DJ said. He says that is a Gold Cup horse for future Sutton Place. So your admiration, your love for Sutton Place is shared by the man who loves Little Rockefeller. Rob, so we've got Richie is all over Nichols Canyon, DJ is all over Sutton Place. What are you all over?
Well, I think in a match bet, I'd very much be in Nichols Canyon's corner, only because he's proved himself. I think Sutton Place still has to, like, you look at the prices, Nichols Canyon's 9-4 and Sutton Place is 4-1. There's probably no value in Sutton Place because he still has to prove himself. Nichols Canyon, as Richie said, he's never got the credit he deserves. And also, he's possibly better right-handed than he is left-handed. He's 5 from 5 right-handed. And I remember chatting to Ruby one day, and Ruby was convinced he's not as good going left-handed. So, to me, he's rock solid, and a 9-4. He was 6-4 anti-post. At 9-4, he's a bet. If you're looking for a springer, and this race is always a knack of producing a big price horse in the frame, the bottom horse Footpad, he's got bits and pieces of form, and they're convinced he's better over 3 miles. He's better going right-handed as well. He might spring into a place, but in a match bet, I'd very much be in Nichols Canyon's corner, but this is the race of the week.
And you're 9-4 Nichols Canyon, you're 4-1 Sutton Place.
And it's 5s, you know what I mean, Harry, 8 bar.
Okay, and DJ, just to hit back here for a bit of healthy debate here, Rob was saying he fears a right-handed track for Sutton Place. You clearly do not share that fear.
That wasn't your fear, was it?
I didn't say, I said Nichols Canyon's better right-handed.
Oh, sorry. What was your point about Sutton Place going that way round?
I didn't say anything about other way around. I just said he has to prove himself.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you feel he has to prove himself?
Oh, he does, absolutely. He has to prove himself. But that's part of the intrigue of racing and betting. You have to try and guess how good you think a horse might be. And I think he could be a superstar. And I think this could be the last time that you'll ever get this horse at 4-1.
There we go. We end part one with almost beautiful agreement between Rob and David.
Check out Paddy Power's latest offer for the Punchestown Festival. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP favourite. Every race, every day. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to part 2 of this Racing Post podcast. Looking forward to day 3 of the Punchestown Festival with myself, Lee Malteser, David Jennings, Richie Forrestal and Rob Catterson behind us. The runners for Friday's Farmers Race are already limbering up, but before we go on to them, we've got race 5, the Shamrock Enterprises Handicap Hurdle. Huge field, 3 miles. David Jennings.
I like Sadler's Risk, Lee. Rate 137. He's chucked in on his chase rating. All 6 of his wins have been right-handed. He's a 154 rated chaser. He's a proper graded chaser running the Handicap Hurdle. I liked his run behind Open Eagle at Thurles. I thought that'd leave him spot on for this. Again, a bit like the King of Bragg in the first. It's quite a shrewd move by Henry, bringing these higher rated chasers back into valuable Handicap Hurdles at this meeting. And Sadler's Risk for me.
Rob?
Yeah, I don't have a massive opinion. I just thought the interesting one was, after seeing him a couple of times this season, was Sure Reef. He hadn't run for a long time. I think he came back at Punchestown around the New Year's Eve meeting. Yep. And he's had a couple of runs. He was a decent novice hurdler, and even though Ruby hasn't picked him, Danny Mullins is on board. You'll get a bigger price than possibly what he should be. I think he could be each way value.
Richie, any views?
Yeah, again, it's wide open. There's one that has to be of real interest, I think, a horse called Gertine. Robert Tyner's horses were out of form for a lot of the season, in the middle of the winter particularly. And this fella last season, within the space of a few months, he won a point-to-point, a bumper and a maiden hurdle. He's a proper horse. And he hasn't hit the same heights this season. He was tried over fences as well. He's stepping up to 3 miles here, and just with Robert's horses coming back into form, you'd like to think that he might be well handicapped.
Race 6 on day 3 is the final Grade 1 of the card, the Ryanair Novice Chase. And in this one, Richie, Great Field is going to be some sight, isn't he?
Yeah, best of luck to anyone gambling on him, because he's obviously got a huge engine, but he takes so many liberties at his fences. He's been getting away with it, and granted, against reasonably decent opposition. I think he beat Hurricane Ben the last day around, didn't he? And that form was franked at Fairy House. So the form is good, but this is going to be another step up again. I would be amazed if at some point his jumping isn't put under pressure, be it the front end of the race or towards the back end of the race. And if they put him under a little bit of pressure, he's going to be in trouble. I mean, you don't wish any horse to fall, but you just worry about him standing up. I mean, he takes fences by the roots, and how he hasn't managed to end up on the floor already is remarkable in itself. That's actually quite a trait, a horse that learns to make mistakes and doesn't fall. So you give him credit for that at least. The one that I like in it is Henry de Bromhead's horse, Ordinary World. Now, he doesn't win often. He's a poor win ratio, granted, but he is a good horse and he will enjoy a bit of decent ground here. He finished third when last seen in the Arkle, behind Altior no less, and the horse that won at Ayr, Cloudy Dream. So, I mean, the form is rock solid and he has a bit of quality. And if there's one in there to put it up to Great Fields, I think it's probably him. Davy will be cute on him as well. He'll ride to challenge late, I'd imagine, and put a bit of pressure on Great Fields.
And just on the fence front, as a former jockey, how would Punchestown's fences compare to the ones that this horse Great Field has been jumping before now?
They'd be as tough as he's encountered. Yeah. I don't think he's run here, has he? I don't think he's run at Punchestown. Yeah, I mean, it's more than the fences, though. They will be the biggest, stiffest fences he's jumped, but more than the fences, it's the competition. Like, you can go around and hack canter and school in second or third gear. It's when he has to be put under pressure a little bit, and he's maybe out in his head a little bit, and he has to shorten. He struggles to do it, so that's what would worry me.
Okay. Rob, what prices are you showing for the Ryanair?
Yeah, we're even money Great Field. It's 6s Ball Dark, 13-2. The horse that Richie tipped up, Ordinary World, and it's 10s Bar. Listen, he's a really good horse. He reminds me a little bit of Undeso's and Novices. He's a massive engine, but you don't really know what he's going to do. But despite making mistakes, to be winning like he has been exceptional. He'll be bigger than even money. I just thought that the value could be Ball Dark. His run behind Ballycasey the last day of the Novice company possibly is the best piece of form in the book, and he's been so consistent this year. At 6-1, possibly bigger. He looks an each way bet to nothing, but it'd be great to see Great Field go out in front and put up a show, because he could be a big horse next year for a Queen Mother or a Ryanair.
Just on that, you compare him to Undeso to a certain extent. What I'd say about that is Undeso always had a great technique. And he could be a bit erratic and he might miss one, but his technique was brilliant. Yeah. This fella's technique is poor, so that's what would worry me.
Okay. DJ, are you with or against the favourite?
I'm with him, because I think it's the worst Grade 1 of the week by a long, long way. It's a really poor race, really poor renewal, and it just goes to show you, like, if you take Altior and Min out of it, our novices, 2 mile novices, are not particularly don't get you particularly excited. I think Great Field is fantastic to watch. I'm a glutton for stuff like this. I love horses that you don't know what they're going to do, and they're so exciting to watch. Rob took the words out of my mouth. It's the first time we've had a horse like this since Undeso back in his novice season, where you're just glued to him and you can't take your eyes off him. Like, what he's done, just to put it in perspective, is absolutely remarkable. To beat Hurricane Ben by that distance at Thurles, 30-something lengths against a 140-something rated horse, he obliterated Woodland Opera, who's potentially a Grade 1 horse, at Leopardstown. Like, he's beating, like, seriously talented horses. I think they don't know how good he is. As Richie said, he could fall, and Richie actually phrased it quite well, because we were speaking about this in the press room earlier, and Richie's exact words were, he'll definitely fall. So yeah, it was phrased rather eloquently for public listeners, but I hope he stays up, and I hope he's an absolute machine, because he could be, and I won't be backing him, but I'll enjoy watching him.
Do we know why Jody McGarvey always rides him?
I think he's done a good bit of schooling on him, I think. And he is a very good jockey. He's already had a winner this week with the good old Western Boy. So, yeah, I think he gets on well with him. They've clicked. They have clicked. And one thing I do disagree with a little bit, Richie, I don't think his technique is that bad. He's made a couple of howling errors. But if you actually, one of them wasn't his fault when he slipped after the last. I think when he gets it right, he's extremely quick. So it'll be interesting. The deputy editor and the editor of Ireland are going to clash here.
It was quite bold of you there to stitch up your boss by revealing what he said in the press room.
Yeah, he deserved it, yeah.
But he has got to do the rotas yet for the rest of the week.
He does, yeah.
You might find yourself doing the farmers' race and nothing else.
Wexford, Roscommon, Downpatrick. I'll be sent all over the country next week.
While you're on the roll, 2 races left. Let's whiz through these. The Mayor's Novice Hurdle at 7:15.
Yeah, I like Asturia here, and I know Rob Catterson is probably going to give it as his banker today. He's in love with that horse. I think he loves it more than his wife, Rachel. She is very, very good. I thought that was a cracking run behind Let's Dance. I think Barra has been to the well a little bit too often for my liking. It's probably a 2-horse race. I think Asturia is probably better than we've seen. She fell a couple of times earlier on in the season when she might have beat Shattered Love. Yeah, Asturia I think is fairly straightforward. She'll be a short price, but she'll win.
And where does she stand in relation to your wife in your affections?
Well, she'll be, I think, a close third to my wife and my little girl. She wouldn't be far off it. Not DJ took the words out of my mouth. I think she's been very unlucky. I thought she went really good at Cheltenham, and she'll win.
Will she win?
Yeah, I think so. I'd agree it's probably a 2-horse race, but there are a couple other decent mares in there, the likes of Good Time Tara and the Green Lady and Nicat's Benefit, the likes of them. They're not bad mares, but you'd imagine if Astoria runs to what she's capable of, she's going to be very hard to stop, yeah.
And Richie, the closing bumper just is 7 in this one.
Yeah, a good race. It's a good bumper, but again, without maybe banging on too much about it, when Robert Tyner's horses are after hitting form, and he spoke yesterday about this Midnight Stroll, that the only reason he took him to Newbury was because he was basically already on the boat, and they were all running very poorly at the time, and he ran well and finished second. So with Derek O'Connor up, might be one against a couple of short priced options.
Okay, Rob?
Yeah, I haven't got a great opinion. Obviously, Next Destination's going to be favoured after his run in the champion bumper, but there's a few unexposed horses here. I wouldn't be getting stuck into this favourite. There could be a Springer amongst the opposition. DJ might know more.
DJ?
A couple of things. Midnight Stroll was second to Bullionaire, who could be a star. He's a horse to follow. Dead Right of Neil Mulholland's is a far better horse than he looked the last time. I think he lost a shoe in a hurdle race behind the good horse, well, what I thought was a good horse at the time of Ferguson's High Bridge at Newbury. I'd imagine that Dead Right will run better than he showed. I do think he has a future Dead Right. But speaking to Patrick Mullins yesterday, did a few bits with him. This is his best ride of the week. I think by all accounts, Next Destination has improved a hell of a lot since Cheltenham. I think his work just started to improve maybe the 2 weeks before Cheltenham, and I think they're only really getting to him now, and he'll be a short price again. It's very boring, but I think Next Destination will win.
Okay, we've gone through 8 races there for day 3. Just to wrap up, DJ, your bet of the meeting is Don't Touch. Don't Touch It.
Yeah, this could be carnage for me, because I really fancy Don't Touch It. Sutton Place, Next Destination. It could be absolute carnage, but I will be most disappointed if Don't Touch It doesn't win.
Okay, and Richie, your max bet again, Nichols Canyon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at 9-4 he's been underestimated by the book. He's the quality horse in the race, and I can't make a case against him.
And Rob, your bet of the day?
It's got to be Astoria in the Mayor's Hurdle.
That then was day 3. Join us tomorrow for a look ahead to day 4. Goodbye.
Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus. Available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.